UFC Vegas 17 on December 19, 2020, has suffered a massive setback as the main event for the card fell out. ESPN's Ariel Helwani was the first to report that Leon Edwards has tested positive for COVID-19 and has dropped out. Rocky was set to face off against Khamzat Chimaev in one of the most anticipated year-end cards. What's more, MMA Junkie's Mike Bone revealed through sources that Edwards has lost 12 pounds due to his current illness. Now, the main event for the card will be a welterweight battle between Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Jeff Neal. Furthermore, Bone reported that the bout is expected to be 5 rounds. On paper, the card was arguably one of the best for the year, and fans will be disappointed with the news. The Englishman seemingly can't catch a break in 2020, and his luck continues to shine upon him unfavorably. Edwards was part of the first event that got cancelled due to COVID-19 back in March. He was supposed to face Tyron Woodley at UFC London, but the event was quickly scrapped due to the circumstances. Leon Edwards has been on the shelf since then, and securing a fight against the surging star Khamzat Chimaev was his only option. He'll most likely lose his shot against Boers, given the fact that Chimaev likes to stay active. Additionally, it seems as though the path to welterweight glory will further be delayed for the Rocky, who's on an 8-fight streak. Chimaev has had his fair share of ups and downs leading into UFC Vegas 17, as he too reportedly tested COVID-19 positive. It was reported that despite the positive test, Khamzat's team had deemed him good to go for December 19. There's no doubt that he'll begin searching for a viable matchup in the meantime.
Talk about boxing only in a box. As a boxer, he's taking it seriously, and then after, he gets people even more upset because in the same breath, this has never happened and will never happen again. In the same breath, he calls out Dillon Danis and Conor McGregor. No one ever has called out Dillon Danis and Conor McGregor
at the same time.
I want to say something right now. Jake Paul,
no,
in a boxing match?
Conor beats Jake Paul in the boxing match.
Okay, easy. I mean, that's not
Conor
even a question.
beats Jake Paul in the boxing match, but Jake Paul beats Dillon Danis.
I was gonna. You stole my line. Jake Paul beats Dillon Danis.
Listen, Jake Paul beats Dillon Danis in the boxing match.
Yes,
but Jake Paul doesn't beat Conor. Conor can box. Connor's the real deal.
Conor would whoop his ass.
I think
he beats Dillon Danis.
I think he beats Dillon, dude. Dillon does not need to fight Jake Paul because he'll get beat up.
Dillon Danis would do that fight tomorrow. He would do that fight. It's the biggest fight that he can get. Jake Paul.
How's he gonna beat Jake Paul? The kid.
But he wants it.
And Jake Paul's big. He's kind of big.
189. He weighed
bigger than he looked way bigger than Nate.
I've got to say, getting into the fight, into the main event, that is the Tyson fight, I was impressed. It wasn't the most dramatic fight, but I was impressed at what they were able to do at their respective ages. I think it's 53 and 51. Both guys, even though Roy was, breathing heavily after 3 or 4 rounds, he never slowed down throughout the fight. Tyson seemed to be in great shape. He went 8 rounds, at a decent pace. The only thing, and I thought both guys showed flashes of their old prime. A few times we saw Roy Jones Jr. with the speed and the footwork. A couple of times we certainly saw flashes of the power of Mike Tyson. The one thing that I feel that minimized some of the action or the excitement for the fight was the smaller boxing ring. It was definitely a smaller boxing ring, just like as we know in the UFC, if they use a smaller cage, that favors the grappler. Why is that? Because they got less room to, not to run, but less room to maneuver, right? And you're more likely to clinch because it's a smaller space. And that's what we saw a lot of the time with Tyson and Roy. Obviously, every time they got close to one another, there was a lot of clinching, and of course, the referee wasn't overly quick to separate them either, so a lot of the fight was spent in the clinch. But as I say, for the guys at their age, I don't know, did you pay for the pay-per-view and were you a satisfied customer? Because I didn't.